ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jùmọ̀ kọ orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àwa ni ògo adúláwọ̀.
SDP 738 YPP 366 ZLP 2392. Total number of valid votes. Total number of valid votes 580,124. 580,124. Total number of rejected votes. Total number of rejected votes 31324. 31324. Total vote cast. Total votes cast 611,448. 611,448. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Prof. and Scope for Ogun State. Were there places where election was not held or the outcome of the election cancelled?
There were places where we have cancellation. They have been compiled. The respective forms, which is EC 40G, was filled during the state collation exercise yesterday. They were all displayed. And the reasons for the cancellation ranges from overvoting. There are some that voters refuse to use the BVAS. And also there are some that was disruption, which probably some thugs came, but they did not cut away with any election material in any of our polling stations throughout Ogun State.
Okay, thank you very much. Party agents, any comments or observations to the scope? Okay, please submit your result.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scope. And the original handwritten completed from ECAD has been duly countersigned by agents of political parties present during state collation in Abeokuta. Thank you. Thank you, VC. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Thank you very much. And I wish you a safe journey. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Collation Secretariat, which state is next? Oyo, where is Ramon Taylor, the resident electoral commissioner? Oyo? Okay. No, Oyo is there, and there is another state also in the holding area. So, are you ready, Oyo? Okay, please come forward along with the state collation officer. Sarek, please introduce yourself, and the Scope should introduce himself and present the results for Oyo State.
My name is Dr. Taylor Adiniran Abdurrahman, the resident Electoral Commissioner, Oyo State.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, the Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and the State Collation Officer for the presidential election in Oyo State. Thank you, sir. For the presidential election that held on the 25th of February 2023, we have the following as the results of the election. 1. The total number of registered voters in Oyo State. Total number of registered voters. 3276,675. 3276,675. Total number of accredited voters, 854,439. 854,439. The total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 39514. 39514. Party AA, 1124. 1124. Party AAC, 1124. 1153, 1153, ADC 6080, ADC 6080, ADP 2298, 2298, APC 449884, 449884, APGA 1368, 1368, APM 462, 462, APP 1985, 1985, BP 363, LP 99110, 99110, NNPP 4095, 4095, NRM 659, 659, PDP 182977, 182977, PRP 433, 433, SDP 14517, 14517, YPP 572, 572, ZLP 2891, 2891. Total valid votes 809485, 809485. Rejected votes 42471, 42471. Total votes cast, total votes cast 851956, 851956. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Scope. Were there places where elections did not hold or cancelled?
Yes, sir. Elections were cancelled in 17 polling units in 14 registration areas.
Reason?
Overvoting, sir. And the total number of cancelled votes were 7363. 7363.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, observations, suggestions? Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward to present your result. party. Okay, thank you very much. Next, we move to Yobe State. Is the REC and the State Collation Officer around? Is the REC as well as the scope? Okay.
My name is Ibrahim Abdullahi, the resident Electoral Commissioner, Yobe State.
My name is Professor Umaru A. Patel, Chancellor of the Federal University Kashere in Gombe State. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election of 25 February 2023 in Yobe State. With me is Ibrahim Abdullahi, the resident Electoral Commissioner for Yobe State. The result for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Yobe State are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 1485146. Total number of registered voters, 1485146. Total number of accredited voters, 398874. Total number of accredited voters, 398874. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties as follows. A party, 312. A party, 312. AA, 915. AA, 915. AAC, 221. AAC, 221. ADC, 1034. ADC, 1034. ADP, 1295. ADP, 1295. APC, 15145. APC, 15145. Am I correct? Okay. 151459. ABGA 875. ABGA 875. APM 472. APM 472. APP 256. APP 256. BP 149. BP 149. LP 2406. LP 2406. NNPP 18270. NNPP 18270. NRM 672. NRM 672. PDP 198567. PDP 198567. PRP 265. PRP 265. SDP 192. SDP 192. YPP 630. YPP 630. ZLP 407. ZLP 407. Total number of valid votes 378397. Total number of valid votes 378397. Total number of rejected votes 18934. 18934. Total votes cast 397331. Total votes cast 397331. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any polling units where elections were not held or cancelled?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 1 in Fika. We had one of the polling booths with about 768 voters registered, and total number of PVCs collected 768, but because of faulty BVA, they couldn't vote. Then we also had Jakusko with LG code 04, one polling unit also affected with about 1073 voters. There was destruction of polling materials, and because of that, it was cancelled. The reports are attached to the submission here, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, any observation? Okay, please step forward to submit your result. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. I understand that Enugu State will be ready in the next 10 minutes. So wait for the next 10 minutes to check Enugu. I also understand that Lagos and Gombe approaching the building. Thank you. So 10 minutes, we'll take Enugu State.
So they've got 10 minutes break, after which they'll return, and I think they said they'll go to Enugu State. But a couple of states have been declared here today: Oyo, Ogun, Yobe, and counting. So the APC clinching Oyo, Ogun, and the PDP clinching Yobe State. So more results expected after all the drama that we saw that went on earlier before these latest results were declared. So we also did see a number of party agents who stormed out of that collation center, the National Collation Center. So interesting scenario. They are up in arms after all that argument about the propriety, the legality of the process, whether or not they were going to continue, citing several provisions of the Electoral Act. And goodness, and here we are now. But Mr. Uzi, what's your impression of what's played out so far?
Well, there's a debate as to whether what is going on now is in accordance with the Electoral Act and whether it's in accordance with the INEC regulations and guidelines. My only challenge about the position of the political parties is that they have not come to say that the results being announced are not in conformity with the scores or the total number of accredited voters as they observed in the lower levels of collation. They are not challenging the scores. They are challenging the process and the procedure. They are challenging the fact that INEC guidelines provides for a comparison being made with the results as exhibited, as displayed in the IREF portal. And it's a choice between let us follow the process as outlined, the architecture as outlined in the Electoral Act and in the INEC guidelines, or let us ensure that we speedily dispose of this result collation process. So it will appear to me the INEC has chosen the latter. We will rather than wait for the IREF portal to be up and running and display all the results. Yeah. Nobody knows how long that will take. The statement yesterday said we were in this process of resolving all the issues. I think there's still one or two challenges. So it depends on which you think should follow. Are you a process person, technical process person, or Nigerians are interested in timelessly getting to hear who the next president, what are the scores.
So just to put it out there,
okay.
Those are PDP, LP, APP, SDP, and ADC.
Walked out.
The parties who walked out.
So, but is that not opening up INEC to litigation? I mean, the fact that there's a law that provides procedural guidelines, and you even had a guideline that sort of enhances the act. Is that not opening yourself up to litigation, seeing that you're going contrary to what you put out as a procedure?
Well, either course of action will open INEC to litigation, and especially in electoral matters, we are a litigious community. Don't forget that there are over 700 cases dealing with party primaries, intra-party affairs.
As we speak.
INEC is joined as a necessary defendant, but it's not primary elections conducted by INEC, even conducted by the political parties themselves. That's the level of disputation that we have within the parties. So yes, definitely, I think your question was more the likelihood of success of those challenges.
Okay.
But Ambassador,
all right, gentlemen, pardon me.
Okay.
We need to just bring you the walkout, and then after they walked out, they spoke to the press behind this collation center. So we caught up with some of them after they made their points. Have a listen.
Now that we have established calm, we can calmly proceed with the process and conclude in the...
We party agents haven't observed that the national chairman of INEC is determined to rig the election by making sure that results are not uploaded, by vehemently making a presentation that makes it look as if we are all here to rubber stamp the fraud that has been cooked between INEC and APC. We are saying that we are not here to rubber stamp the electoral fraud that have been prepared by INEC and APC. We are Nigerians and we all know that there is nowhere on the server that results have been uploaded. He's now saying we should wait for the process to be completed. All the political parties here have staged a walkout to express the unfortunate politicization and commercialization of our electoral process.
How many of the parties are staging a walkout?
We are about 9-10 of us here, understand? And we are saying that INEC is compromised, APC have influenced INEC, and we can see results have been changed. We have records of where elections did not take place and results have been prepared. We have records of where the beavers were not used and results have been pronounced. What is difficult in the INEC chairman showing the uploaded results so that we can compare and interrogate that with the presentation that is made by the state returning officers. But they cannot upload results. They cannot show us uploaded results because they know that what they are going to upload will be at variance with what they are presenting to Nigerians. So the electoral process have been rigged. INEC have rigged the 2023 elections and we are completely dissociating ourselves from it and we know what to do next.
How many parties staged a walkout this afternoon?
Well, there are about 10 political parties that have actively participated in the election.
So are you saying that you would no longer, your party, the Labour Party, will no longer participate in this election?
We have already participated in the election.
Or in the collation process?
The only thing we are challenging the process in which they are declaring the results. You understand? They have promised us that they are going to use beavers. Beavers are used, but the result of the beavers have not been uploaded. What they are giving us now are doctor results, they are fake results, and that is why we do not accept it. And we have called on the INEC chairman. If he did not agree and did not accept what we are telling you, how shall we accept what he is telling us? It's a result that we have a complaint from our agent. We have seen it. Everybody have seen it. We have seen where problems, where infractions have been happening, and we have seen where doctor results have been submitted. Our agent have reported to us. This is what we are not. That is what they are telling us here. So, and he wants us to just rubber stamp what they are telling us. And then, as APC have suggested that we should meet, they should meet in court, and that's what is succumbing to it.
So what next? So what next for your party? What next?
Well, the next thing is we have done what we are doing now, and then we are going to take the instruction from our masters.
All right, so some of the political party agents that staged a walkout at that National Coalition Center, they've taken a break now. But Abosede, what's going through your mind?
So, I mean, the first thing I did is I went to the IREF portal and I'm just looking at, you know, obviously how far do we have to go? And it shows that 62,736 results have now been uploaded. But as you know, there are 176 and about 606 polling units. And so technically, we're still around 40%, right? So I think there are two things here. You know, the political parties that walked out were very clear about what they would prefer. And what they're saying is adjourn this process, okay? Now, I think that it's important to highlight that the cost of that to Nigerians is that they need to wait, right? But we started this conversation by saying, wow, it's been 48 hours. And we just don't know. We're not in position to say how long it would take for INEC to upload those results such that when the scope comes and is announcing, they can display it for us. So it's a valid ask, definitely, and I think in line with the Electoral Act that, you know, the part of the Electoral Act and the guidelines that have already been stated, it is a valid ask. However, I think it's important to understand what is at stake, you know, if we were to go in that direction.
Prof, we'll come back to you in a minute, but just quickly go to this APC's press release. The Tinubu to Lagosians, he did ask that they become and maintain peace. So he did say, all Progressives Congress, the presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu appeals to Lagos State, people in Lagos State, to become and eschew any act that can lead to breakdown of law and order. He said the outcome of the election in Lagos, where Labour Party won the presidential election, should not be a source of provocation, saying that the beauty of democracy is that people have a right to vote for the candidate of their choice. Okay, so we can go ahead and listen to some of them.
We have credible information from my colleagues at the bar. They have consulted some of my colleagues at the inner bar, senior advocates like me, who they have told to shop to go and prepare court papers and proceed to court. I want to appeal to the judiciary to remember the famous or the infamous Justice Bennett of June 12th. We should not have a replay of the situation of Justice Bennett and what happened to her and what happened to her thereafter. That is my appeal to the judiciary, which is still my primary constituency. Please, please, and please, they should not scuttle democracy. If they think that INEC has subverted provisions of the law in releasing the results, we will meet them anywhere in court, because we say that there is no such provision legally binding on INEC, and that overrides provision of both the Constitution and the Electoral that says that results must be uploaded before they are declared. What the law still recognizes is the manual step-by-step collation until the announcement of the results at the National Collation Center as provided for by law. There is nothing, and let me tell you this. I want you to simply ask the PDP. It's not good. I mean, for the LP, they have called for the cancellation of the results. Fair, well and good. We'll meet them anyway. But for the PDP, I want you to ask a critical question to all these drama kings you are seeing up and down, making noise without substance. Have you picked up a particular result from a particular state and compared it with the ones your agent submitted, and tell the world which unit has been altered, which ward result has been altered, which state result has, tell the world.
All right, so there you go. The All Progressives Congress also giving their press conference concerning what they've seen going on, reactions to the PDP, Labour Party, SDP, APP, the agents and their parties who staged the walkout and calling for cancellation, or they're not believing in the entire process. Well, Prof, you've heard what's going on now. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it's patently very risky for INEC to put on hold the process of announcement of the results. It immediately declared that INEC has admitted that it's lost in crisis. And I think that's what should not be done.
Okay. By the way, Labour Party also had their briefing, just ended moments ago, as a matter of fact. So they're all having these briefings going all over the place, and pressmen will have to make sure we catch snippets, if not the entire thing. So that also went on, and I think subsequently we will... Okay, here it is, by the way.
Leaders repeated this promise multiple times. Challenge,
Okay, so that is Labour Party's Akin Oshuntogun. Okay, so he's clearly stating their party's position, but previously I think they had also spoken about how they do not believe in the process previously before today. So this is an addition to what they said previously. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think that the position of the chairman of INEC is reasonable, but that means the case has not been closed, and because, as he himself admitted, once the announcement process is concluded, then the possibility of review can then be activated. Now, but what the political parties are saying is very important for us to note. The first is that they have discovered some discrepancies between what has been announced at the local government level as the result of the state and what they have from their party agents. That's the first point. Then secondly, they said by not uploading the results for access, the argument or their fear is that INEC is not confident that what is going to be uploaded corresponds to what actually happened at the polling unit. They may be wrong, they may also be right. But the important point is really this, that when you look at the local government figures, you can't compare those figures with the polling unit figures that the political parties are talking about. That's why that IREV portal is so important for the purposes of transparency.
Okay, Prof, just for clarity, now those images you see, this press conference by Labour are the initial images that we do have, but we will bring you what they actually said in the press conference. So just stay with us, we'll bring you that one. Conclude your thoughts.
So, which makes it very difficult to argue that the parties do not have any ground for the complaints that they are making. I think what they are trying to do is to establish an environment where it will be clearly established that they have protested the results. Because they are now going to go a step further to put all the documents that they have together and begin to get ready for that review. And if that doesn't happen, of course, to get ready for litigation.
So let me ask this question. Abosede, maybe you come in here. Why go down a wrong, well, not a wrong road, a tedious road? Why go down a tedious road when you can stop and make amends? I mean, going by the guidelines that INEC, and I asked this question earlier, Mr. Ozzy also attempted to answer that question. You have the law. You put out a guideline for yourself and for every other person. And in the course of executing your assignment, you are reminded, this is what you said. Can you stop, correct yourself, and then we continue? And that becomes too difficult?
So I think you're looking at it, as an isolated case. Everything that you have said is correct. However, given what is currently happening, the stakes are too high for the INEC chairman to pause this process. It's going to feel like 72 hours. The next 10 hours or 12 hours before they resume at 11 a.m. again tomorrow is going to feel like 24 hours. So the INEC chairman, as the returning officer for the presidential election, has made a call, right? Whether this is the best call at this time, I mean, we can argue about that. Okay. I would say it is, given what is at stake. Because ultimately, I think in the midst of all of this, the most important people are those people who went out to vote.
Yeah, Ms. Uzi, I'm wondering. Okay, sorry, you want to?
You see, it's very tempting to say, put it on hold. I mean, if you just create an image of June 12th, that the elections were going on, at the point of announcement of result, you suspend the process.
Okay, a couple of things from that. Now, Ms. Uzi, did INEC play into their hands, on the one hand? And secondly, I'm also wondering, having been experienced, not the first election for the chairman, perhaps could he have, with the benefit of hindsight, just say, well, I think I might have an idea where this is headed. If they were asking, Mr. Chairman, you have the powers, could you let the returning officers just corroborate and say what we are announcing is in line with what is on the portal or what has been uploaded, and tell us whether it's been uploaded or not? So should he have made a call at that point?
First of all, whether INEC split into their hands, I think we should fall back to the INEC statement of yesterday, that they intended to comply with this. They intended to go ahead as required in the regulations. But for certain reasons, these things have not come online. They've not come up on the portal. So I don't think from the explanation, I don't think they had a choice. But now is the call he has made. Do you proceed to start collation even without rectifying whatever challenges or issues you have with the portal, or you'll do what you're doing now? Each individual can make up their minds about that.
Okay.
I wanted to quickly take you up on Section 65, which is something that has been quoted quite copiously by some of the agents, and they kept on talking about it. They talk about, and Section 65 talks about the decision of returning officer on ballot paper. I think that's the header you have there. It talks about the decision of the returning officer shall be final on any question arising from or relating to A, an unmarked ballot paper, B, rejected ballot paper, and C, declaration of scores of candidates and return of a candidate. That is what Section 65 says. And then it also says, provided that the Commission shall have the power within 7 days to review the declaration and return where the Commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or was made contrary to the provisions of the law, regulations, and guidelines and manual for the election.
Correct.
That is, it looks like it's referring largely to the presiding officer at the polling unit because it's talking about ballot paper. But right now, we all know that the INEC chairman is a returning officer for the presidential elections.
Correct.
So precisely what are they asking him to do, referring to Section 65 of this Electoral Act?
I really don't know. I'm not too sure whether the reference to Section 65 is opposite. I'm not sure. But when you say it's talking about presiding officers, yes and no, don't forget that the unit results are the building blocks of everything else. We are here because of the unit results.
Yeah.
So whatever challenges like marking a ballot paper in the unit result is transferred to the next level of question, to ward level. Unfortunately, we're not privy to what happened at the ward level, whether objections were raised or nothing. And they're not referencing that. And also to the local government coalition level and the state coalition level.
Okay, Mr. Ozzy, sorry,
Yes.
if I may come in here.
Yes.
Let's, again, go back a bit. Section 64.
Yes.
Says, the presiding officer, Section 64(1),
Yes.
shall endorse the word rejected on the ballot paper, rejected.
Yes.
Okay, let's go down to, if an objection of the decision of a presiding officer to reject the ballot is raised by a candidate or a polling agent, let's go to 4. A collation officer or returning officer at an election shall collate and announce the result of an election subject to his or her verification and confirmation that the number of accredited voters stated on the collated results are correct and consistent with the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from the polling unit under Section 472 of this Act. B, the votes stated on the collated results are correct and consistent with the votes or results recorded and transmitted directly. 5, subject to subsection 1, a collation officer or returning officer shall use the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from the polling unit under Section 472 of this Act, and the votes recorded and transmitted directly from polling units under Section 64 of this Act to collate and announce the result. Please, can you read from your guide there what the transmission there, by INEC's guidelines, what the transmission means?
Yes, it says paragraph 38 of the INEC guidelines. I don't know if your camera can catch this, of INEC guidelines. And it says there that on completion...
Ms. Zuzi,
yes.
Apologies.
Yes.
ICC, I think as you can see, picture in the box, they've come back, and we'll have to go back there, so apologies. But let's get back to the ICC.
My name is Dr. Chukwemeka Joseph Chukwu, Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Enugu State. Beside me is
I'm Professor Madu Ebibisi of Foiwe, Vice Chancellor Michael O'Brien, University of Agriculture Mudike, Coalition Officer for the presidential election in Enugu State.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. These are the results of the collation we did in Enugu State. The number of registered voters, 2,112,793. 2,112,793. Number of accredited voters, 482,990. 482,990. Votes received by political parties, 165, 165, AA 77, 77, AAC 128, 128, ADC 282, 282, ADP 200, 200, APC 4772, 4772, APGA 1548, 1548, APM 351, 351, APP 209, 209, BP 504, 504, LP 428 640, 428 640, NNPP 1808, 1808, NRM 414, 414, PDP 15749, 15749, PRP 95, 95, SDP 103, 103, YPP 290, 290, ZLP 1089, 1089. Total valid votes 456 424, 456 424. Rejected votes 12467, 12467. Total votes cast 468 891, 468 891. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any places where elections did not hold or cancellations?
Yes, Chairman, we had overvoting and disruption in Aninri, Uduma 2, and Ezago, We also had disruption in Mbo, in Ogun. Those are the three areas that were affected.
Okay, total number of registered voters and PVCs collected. Are they all in the 40G?
Yes, they are. We have compiled them.
Okay, any comments, any observation on the Abia result? Enugu result. Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward to present the result. Okay, I understand that Lagos is around. So let's give Lagos a few minutes to cross-check with the Collation Secretariat before presenting the result. So we give Lagos a few minutes.
We have the announcements from the National Collation Center, where Enugu results were just called out from the figures there. Abosede, what do you think?
So, I mean, democracy is, supposed to be government for the people, by the people. This is what is unfolding, right? I think that it's very unique that we're seeing a lot of surprises. But as far as I'm concerned, these positions are no one's inheritance, right? And it is only, one thing that must be clear is that election is a pathway to good governance, right? And so this is an opportunity. If you have been voted out and somebody new has been voted in, this is an opportunity to give governance to the people. It's about the people. And I know that we're currently going through a process that is painful, that people have different opinions about, but I think that the Nigerian people should see it as a win through and through. And that's why I said, whatever it is that we're looking at, even in the process, we must prioritize the Nigerian people. And so the surprises are pleasant, is a pleasant surprise, is a breath of fresh air. And I think it's important for people to know that public office, elective or appointive, is about giving the people good governance. And I think we're seeing it unfold.
Well, they're taking a break right now. I think Lagos is about to do its own announcement of the results, which we also heard from the local, that's the State Collation Center earlier. But perhaps in line with what some of the agents have been raising, the national chairman has asked the resident electoral commissioner to make sure they've cross-checked their figures, and that's why we have this lull right now. I don't know whether this, what exactly would they be cross-checking, Mr. Ozi? Can you let us know?
They might check whether the figures do add up, whether it's overvoting in any particular local government, whether there's overvoting in the whole state constituency, the total number of accredited voters according to the beavers, that read from the beavers, is equal or less than the total number of valid and invalid votes. The beavers records all the cards of the people who have come to vote and computes it, adds it up. Whereas if you have you'll compare that with the figure endorsed in the result sheet, ECHC, and also add the total number of valid votes of all the parties and invalid votes and see to whether there's any discrepancy. But I think there's also this issue of the polling unit result transmitted from to the server. Okay. And the issue is that, to be fair, the chairman at this stage cannot be comparing 178,000 polling unit results. So it is deemed that they should have done so probably at the lowest level, which is the RA coalition.
Who should have done so?
The first coalition officer. And I think what we want is the assurance that has been done. If the chairman is satisfied that that was done, which in this case hasn't been done because there are very few, 40% you computed earlier on. As of today, that is about 40% have been, as of today, maybe an hour ago. So these are the kind of things that we...
Okay, so it's too late for the chairman to do that comparison, but...
Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what you're saying. I mean, Mr. Oz, if I get you right, you're saying it's probably too late for the chairman to be comparing notes with what's happening at the polling unit. Is that what you at this point in time?
What it means basically, if you take this literally, he's supposed to do that. But you don't expect the chairman to every coalition officer, because it doesn't discriminate. The section you read, section 64.
Yeah.
64 does not. Let's just go back to 64.4 as well. A coalition officer or return officer at an election shall collate and announce the results of an election subject to the following. He's a returning officer. He's going to collate the president and return. But so, and don't forget there are 176
polling, 1,000 polling units. Yeah.
1,000 polling units. I don't think the law, if you separate it that way, it will lead to an absurdity.
So, is there any implication of that walkout?
No. You cannot compel an agent to be represented at a coalition center. If they work out, the process can continue. It doesn't invalidate whatever is being done there.
What about on the integrity of the process?
It calls the question. There are two different things: the legality of that, and then the perception. So yes, it could affect the perception. I'm sure there are quite possibly a lot of their supporters. Some will disagree that you shouldn't have worked that day, and some will say, it has diminished. It has diminished the integrity of the process. So many parties, 9, 10, rejected the process, and by implication have rejected the result. If you reject the process, I doubt if they will accept the outcome of that process. So everything that happens diminishes the process. All that we're saying in social media also diminishes the process. Whether it's good, whether it's justified or not, it's a totally different thing.
Prof, what will your assessment be?
Well, I think that there's a serious issue here because if the political parties in their numbers work out, it's a very symbolic behavior which detracts from the legitimacy of the entire process. And I'm very sure that INEC chairman is not taking it lightly. And that's why he's particularly concerned about having any kind of repeat of discrepancy from now on. But more importantly, remember the reason why he's proceeding with the announcement of the results is simply that he says he's satisfied that the required processes have been observed at the lower levels, because he's going to do the collation of these returns that are coming from the state and add them up for the final result. But those who were at the decentralized level are those who are expected to have exercised due diligence. In fact, even the uploading of the results at the polling unit level is also supposed to have been done by the presiding officer at that particular polling unit. So all of these have not clearly, because the uploading is taking so much time, and we still have less than 40% of the results uploaded. It's questionable whether due diligence has been done by those officers.
Pastor, if I could ask you, I mean, when Makwe did say, the chairman was saying that Lagos should take a moment and cross-check and make sure certain things are done. As a communication person, in context of what had transpired previously, how does that come across? Because, I mean, people internalize these things differently.
Yes.
Wouldn't some say, oh, well, so the chairman is not trying to do the right thing we should have done before, or what?
You know, really good question. And I think that we must, it's important for us to let Nigerians know what is at stake, right? And I know that as we speak here, there's so many conversations happening, but let's break it down. If it is taking 2 days, 48 hours, to upload 66,000 results for the polling units, we can assume, based on that baseline, so a baseline has already been established, right, that it would take another 3 days, 72 hours, to upload for 176,000 polling units. So, Chamberlain, ask me, if the chairman says now, let's take a break for 3 days, you tell me what's going to happen. And it's important for us to have this conversation so that people know what's at stake, right? So I hear that we want to have this argument about right and wrong, but I think the chairman, as the returning officer, based on what we have read, has made a call, haven't considered everything. And you know, these are the scenarios that we're saying. I mean, we thought the IREV was going to work, didn't we? Nobody could have predicted.
The eyes have it.
Nobody could have predicted that we'd find ourselves here. And I think that that's what it is. So and that's why people run organizations. People are in positions of leadership. And so he has to take responsibility at this point, evaluate everything that's before him, and make a call. And I think that that's the call that he has made, because 3 days of silence, the same people who would go, if we were to vote, that will go in that direction, when we return to the same process where we're now showing those things, we'll say something else.
Well, there's a law at the National Collation Center at the moment. Everyone's waiting for, I think, Lagos State to come up with its results, and they're taking time probably to check out those figures and ensure that they do tally. But we do know that some parties walked out. And
I don't think they're going to ask them, is it on IREM?
Well, but it wouldn't be a good idea if they actually did. You know, a lot of people would have expected that at the National Collation Center, behind the chairman would be that big screen, whereas they're calling out the numbers or just a flashing. That would have been really
So they're showing it electronically, but you're right. There are people expecting for the actual downloaded picture. It will be a lot.
Quite a number of scenarios that we are currently witnessing right there at the National Collation Center. I mean, some silence there, and you can almost hear it. It's a silence, golden, you know, it was the silence of the graveyard while, you know, the collation process is going on. I wanted to quickly just, you know, ask about how it is that we're managing, will I say, the expectations of the public. So far, so good. Some of the results that have been declared have already been declared at the state level. So a number of people have already started seeing their results there, and the outcome in some instances have been shocking. In some instances, we're almost expected. People, the lawmakers at some level, we're already beginning to know who they are. In the states that have been declared, some surprises. It looks like quite a number of old faces that we know where the National Assembly are not going to be coming back. So far, so good. But I am just wondering, at the state level right now, in Lagos, for instance, we've seen statements made by the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress calling for calm there. We've also heard that the governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has also released a statement urging calm. What do you think should be going on at the state level right now with the results that have been declared, and also even with the tension that is palpable at the National Collation Center?
First of all, in one sense, what has been declared are provisional results in the presidential election at the state level. They are provisional results. They still have to be brought to Abuja. The chief returning officer, chief electoral commissioner, still has to may still have to make a call as to, look, I don't accept this part or that part, or I reject what you brought here. You'll go back and conduct supplementary elections because of overvoting, because of this, because of that. So you have to be very careful what is being announced. What is being announced. It's for the return.
That is at the presidential
level. Yes. The returning officer for the other constituencies, Senate and House of Representatives. That is a result subject Section 65(2) makes it subject to the decision of the Commission that this was in line. First of all, that it was voluntarily made, and that it was in line with the Electoral Act and administratively with the regulations. So, if there's any serious protest, I'm not aware. The Commission hasn't done an outline of how you can register such protests. It could come from the Resident Electoral Commissioner, and I presume it can come from any of the candidates or their political parties. So, for 7 days after that declaration, if after 7 days the Commission has not overturned or pronounced in that one, then it is deemed it's now a final result, and you have to go to tribunal to challenge it. So people should be careful about all this. I think I like what is going on now, that they appeal for calm, and people should be reasonable. There are ways of resolving differences and issues. One of the ways is this Commission can administratively deal with these provisional results. Otherwise, you will probably have to go to court. But it's important that let the peace accords not be a hollow ritual. Let it not be something that we're not determined or committed to right from time. So I expect the candidates and their parties to do something to calm the situation.
All right, we will do something right now. We'll go to a commercial, and we will be back afterwards.
Become your best self with new and exciting data plans from 9mobile. Visit www.9mobile.com.ng or any of our 9mobile Experience Center.
9mobile. Here for you. Here for 9ja.
Do you feel terrified when speaking before a group? Are you stressed when asked to present? Do you forget your points? Are you shy and need confidence? How do you give a speech with polish? Learn how at the School of Eloquence,
the home of public speaking. Attend the public speaking masterclass or one-on-one coaching in Lagos and Abuja and boost your speaking confidence before any audience. To register, call 0906-781-5830 or log on to schoolofeloquence.org. School of Eloquence, teaching the world to speak.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) will conduct the 2023 general election using the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) on election day.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jùmọ̀ kọ orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Àwa ni Ògo Adúláwọ̀.
Fire.
Heritage ti dé.
Herbal remedy ló sọ pé àìsàn oníṣẹ́ wa. Ṣọ́múròrò àwọn ká pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dá o.
Orí fífọ́ ò dáa.
Manpower ó ṣe kókó fámọ́ ọkùnrin.
Diabetes ò dáa.
Rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wa jà o.
Àbí o kàlàfíà àwọn máa ti fíafíà o. Ilé iṣẹ́ Herbal remedy ṣe ń fọn rẹ̀ pé ká tọ́jú ara wa pẹ̀lú àwọn òògùn ìbílẹ̀ tiwantiwa. Egbògi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pọ́nbélé tó ṣiṣẹ́ fáwọn onírúurú àìsàn bíi ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru, high blood pressure, ìtọ̀ ṣúgà, diabetes, ẹ̀fọ́rí túlù, migraine, àwọ̀ká, arthritis, nárùn, body inching, ṣàmúlọ́rọ̀ àtẹ̀dá tó dààmú àwọn obìnrin. Yorùbá natural Herbal remedy ló lè yanjú ẹ̀. Manpower ọkùnrin làdá tó ń fáwọn ọkùnrin lágbára láti ṣojúṣe wọn lọ́dọ̀ àwọn aya wọn. Ọ̀sẹ̀ àánú náà wà Mercy Soap fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ ra àánú gbà. Herbal remedy láti lè ṣe HeritageTV London. Ẹ lè rí àláwọ̀ àdírẹ́sì tó ń kọjá lójú wòran yìí tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè nọ́mbà yìí +44 777 8957 893. Lè ṣe HeritageTV London ló ń pariwo wípé àìsàn àtàrùn onífàgọ́ ara wa ṣe bùgbé o.
Rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wa jà o.
Jerusalem,
Jerusalem,
land of glory,
Jerusalem,
holy land,
and a visit to Jerusalem.
Ní àwọn tó ti wà ní àkọsílẹ̀ tí a sì ń jẹ́rìí rẹ̀ wípé òdodo ni àǹfààní ńlá ló ṣí sílẹ̀ fún ọ láti wọ̀lú Ísírẹ́lì ìrìn àjò ọlọ́jọ́ 10 sí ìlú mímọ́ ní Jerusalem. Ìwọ náà rí fúnra rẹ̀ àwọn ibi tó ti kà nínú Bíbélì. Orí òkè Nebo ní àdójúkọ Jericho níbi tí Ọlọ́run ti fi gbogbo ilẹ̀ lérí hàn Mósè. Deuteronomy chapter 34 verse 1 to 12. Àfonífojì Élà níbi tí Dáfídì ti ṣẹ́gun Gòláyátì. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 1 to 5. Òkun Gálílì níbi tí Jésù ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. Luke chapter 4 verse 14 to 15. Kánà àti Galilee níbi tí Jésù ti ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu àkọ́kọ́ ó somi di wáìnì. Jòhánù orí kejì ẹsẹ̀ kìíní sí kẹwàá. Odò Jọ́dánì níbi tí Jòhánù onítẹ̀bọmi ti baptisi Jésù. Matthew chapter 3 verse 13. Ilé tí Jósẹ́fù àti Màríà ìyá Jésù gbé ní Násárẹ́tì. Matthew chapter 2 verse 23. Ìlú Jericho. Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 to 2. Òkun Pupa. Exodus chapter 14 verse 22. Ọgbà Gẹ́stímánì níbi tí Jésù ti ń gbàdúrà. Matthew chapter 26 verse 36. Sàárè Lásárù ibojì ọba Dáfídì ní Jerúsálẹ́mù. Ilé tí Jésù àtàwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti jó ń jalè Olúwa. Mark chapter 14 verse 15 to 18. Yàrá òkè níbi táwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti gbẹ̀mí mímọ́. Iṣẹ́ Àpọ́stélì chapter 2 verse 1 to 5 àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ Captain Mother Athens sórí nọ́mbà yìí 078 721 379 53 tàbí Pastor Elijah Kumuyi sórí nọ́mbà yìí 079 846 348 98. Àjọsílẹ̀ mímọ́ kì í ṣe ìrìn àjò lásán ṣùgbọ́n ká lọ kábọ̀ ká dẹni ọ̀tun. Ìrìn àjò sí Jerusalem tọdún yìí.
Quick Cargo Limited.
From London to Nigeria.
Quick Cargo Limited. We specialize in shipping and air freight from London to Nigeria. We provide you with high quality, affordable and reliable shipping platform globally. Quick Cargo Limited. We collect from your door within London with free pickup. Your containers, cash shipping, air freight services, shipment shipping, plant machinery and professional packing services. All this we do to satisfy you. London address, Unit 1215, Access Self Storage, Kingsbridge Road, Afresh Way, back in IG 11 OBD. Telephone +44 79 04 04 1142 +44 79 6021 2185 +44 78 4949 4970. Nigeria address #1 Molara Adebaba Close behind CPM Church, Ajao Estate, Lagos. Telephone 090 7083 3630. Website www.quickcargo.co.uk. Email info@quickcargo.co.uk. Quick Cargo Limited. Affordable and reliable shipping
from London to Nigeria.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream. That was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Honorable Muhammad Law Nalado, National Chairman of Accord and representing Accord. We believe in the process and we are not working out. We are after one Nigeria and believe our coming together here to support Nigeria, that is what we stand for. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Venimbe James, National Secretary, Action Alliance. We are with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Lagos is ready. May I invite the resident Electoral Commissioner Lagos to introduce himself, and for the Collation Officer for Lagos to introduce herself and present the result. Rec Lagos.
Thank you, sir. My name is Olusegun Agbaje, Resident Electoral Commissioner, Lagos State.
Thank you. My name is Professor Adenike Oladije, the Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Akure. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election of 25th February 2023 in Lagos State. And with me is Mr. Olusegun Agbaje, the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Lagos State. The results for the presidential election held on the 25th February 2023 in Lagos State are as follows. Number of registered voters, 7060195. 7060195. Number of accredited voters, 1347152. 1347152. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. A, 3069. 3069. AA, 498. 498. AAC, 1597. 1597. ADC, 5789. 5789. ADP, 2439. 2439. APC, 572606. 572606. APGA, 2316. 2316. APM, 709. 709. APP, 371. 371. BP, 1837. 1837. LP, 582454. 582454. NNPP, 8442. 8442. NRM, 609. 609. PDP, 75750. 75750. PRP, 1120. 1120. SDP, 772. 772. YPP, 1109. 1109. ZLP, 9964. 9964. Total valid votes, 1271451. 1271451. Rejected votes, 64278. 64278. Total votes cast, 1335729. 1335729.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Any cancellations?
Yes.
Places where elections were not held, reasons?
Yes, there were cancellations. There were 3 local government areas affected by overvoting, 3 registration areas, and 9 polling units. The total number of registered voters in these areas is 5584. 5584.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, party leaders? Any observations, any comments for the scope? Okay, thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Please step forward to present your result. Is Gombe ready? Okay, so Gombe will be next.
Okay, next is Gombe State. The resident electoral commissioner is here with the scope. Introduce herself, and the scope should introduce herself and present the result.
I am Umar Ibrahim, the resident electoral commissioner, Gombe State.
I am Professor Memuna Waziri, the Vice Chancellor, Federal University, Geshua. I am the State Coalition Officer for the presidential election of 25th February 2023 in Gombe State. Can I go ahead? Okay. The results for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Gombe State are as follows. For Party A scored 284.
Before the parties, total number of registered voters, total number of accredited voters, and then you go to votes scored by parties.
Okay, sir. The total number of registered voters, 157,5794. 157,5794. The total number of accredited voters, 542,999. Party PDP 319123. 319123. Party PRP 384. 384. Party SDP 137. 137. Party YPP 439. 439. Party ZLP 969. 969. That's all. Total number of valid votes 510043. 510043. Total number of rejected votes 23735. 23735. Total votes cast 533778. 533778. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any places where elections were not held or cancelled?
Yes, sir. The total number of cancelled votes 9640.
Okay, reasons for the cancellation? Number of registered voters in those areas?
Number of registered voters 16162.
Any record of PVCs collected?
Yes, sir. The total number of PVCs collected 9640. And reasons, you asked for reasons?
Yes.
Reasons for cancellation, overvoting, disruption, and refusal to use beavers. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments on the Gombe report? Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward to present your result. Okay, thank you very much. We're expecting a few more states, but they are not so close by like the last two. So I suggest that we take a break and reconvene at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Thank you very much. So let's go.
All right, so there you go. A couple of states have also just been announced. Lagos, Gombe, amongst these states have just been recently announced. And so quite a number of developments, a couple of issues are spanned out. Guys, what's caught your attention so far, really?
Very interesting results coming in from, well, I think some of them we already saw earlier. But one of the things that has caught my attention is the disparity between the registered voters and accredited voters. I think I've been monitoring that, and for quite a number of the states, oftentimes you will see that the number of, let me take Enugu for instance, where you had about 2 million registered voters. The number of accredited people was roughly about 480 something. So let's even summarize it and say it's 500,000. That's about a quarter of it. So 25%. But when you come to Lagos and you see that 7 million people registered to vote, and maybe about 6 million plus collected their PVCs according to what INEC released as the number of collected permanent voter cards. And then you now hear that only 1.3 plus million votes were accredited voters. There are big questions. It doesn't seem to follow that same, will I say, ratio that I have come to expect from the states. Normally you will see a quarter of the registered voters, so maybe 25%. Lagos seems to be doing quite poorly in that regard. Can we really dismiss what it is that we saw? Some of the reports, even though people have said, oh, they were isolated cases of voter suppression in some places, and then the fact that voting materials is not really coming on time. Can we really say that these cases were really as isolated as we think they are? Let me come to you, Prof.
Well, you know, Lagos has always been the state with the lowest voter turnout rate. And the explanation has always been that there's a lot of vote suppression in Lagos. And so when you then look, because I was even thinking there will be a markup in this election concerning the level of mobilization, and then we also see how competitive the election was. You would have thought that voter turnout would have increased, but it seems that that is not the case even today. Well, because again, it has always been the case, it's difficult to attribute everything, you know, to the violence that occurred in multiple places. Perhaps a lot of people collect PVC, register for election, but are simply not interested in voting.
Can we safely reach that conclusion, Abosede?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that's coming to my mind, even though, yes, we know that INEC did a great job around redistribution of polling units, so ideally, you know, your polling unit should be a walking distance. You know, there's a part of me that's thinking, in addition to maybe the fear of violence, because some people wouldn't even show up at all because they do have a fear of violence. But I'm thinking to myself, you know, this cash crunch and, you know, people actually sitting at home and saying, you know what, I can't even bother, right? This money that I would use to even, you know, make one step away. I mean, vehicles are not supposed to move and all of that. So I worry as to whether that's a real valid reason. But I think to his point, Lagos has not disappointed in terms of voter turnouts. It has just never been. But because of the additional, the new people who were registered, you would expect those numbers to go up. But I think that we're beginning to see a trend, and I think, you know, you would see it if you look at it, that while all of us were expecting that we'll be in the range of 50%, you know, I remember Shewa and the team doing a bet on that, and I think, you know, we're somewhere around 50%, you know. We're finding that we're around the same range of 30-something%. So,
sorry,
yeah.
Sozi, why do you think, I mean, you were in charge of voter education, if I'm correct.
At one stage, yes.
I'm not saying that of legal.
Okay. But I think when we really got to work with you was when you were in voter education.
That's true.
What did you? Let's weigh what you experienced there and what you're seeing play out now, and see how.
What's the missing link?
What's the missing link? What's missing? How is it that the apathy, the voter apathy, seem not to have changed in any way? I mean, some will feel like, forget this thing, my votes. A lot of people then, forget this thing, my votes won't count. And you hear people go like, it might be your one vote that will make the difference, but please. So now, how would you think this will is playing out and likely to play out in the next election?
The expectations were actually high that there will be a lot more people, and I had to caution that, look, don't start judging turnout based on the crowds that you're seeing now. Ultimately, to be when we look at the beavers to see how many people were actually accredited. There are lots of reasons, and I hope some little bit of research will be done into this, but some of the figures from the past may not be accurate, actually. May just not be accurate, because don't forget, before they had the electronic register, they had the dubious register, and you had so many people with different cards who were just, so when you see accreditation in those times, it was just by ticking in the register. So a lot of people just tick things in the register. So I don't think those figures are accurate. We must always put a rider when we compare present-day figures with previous figures.
So sorry, if I may ask you, do we ever take out of those numbers, as in number of registered voters, do we ever take out some people, maybe they died, and have we ever had to do that?
Well, there's a process, and I've been in the studio, you've been here when we say there's a cleanup. And in the cleanup, people are supposed to indicate to INEC that certain people have died. There are many prominent people, for example, whose names are still on the register because nobody came. And INEC and zone cannot sell by itself.
Do you register anybody?
Remove somebody's names. There's some of their coincidence of names, for example. So, but we don't bother, and it's more systemic, more structural. The NPOPC, the National Population Commission, is supposed to register births, register deaths, and there's a linkage between the two. They've been trying to collaborate and cooperate, so that automatically, when they have data, they just send these ones over to INEC. But that hasn't happened, and people don't just bother. None of us on this table, for example, I'm sure we've always lost somebody or the other. I don't think any of us has gone to INEC and at any time during the cleanup.
That's very true.
To say, please, my grandfather died, or I had a close friend who died. None of us has done that.
Has INEC even provided a platform for people to send in notices, for instance, and say, hey, my grandfather died, my grandmother died?
Channels TV, amongst responsible, reasonable organizations, media organizations, have even talked about cleanup. We've come here to discuss these issues, the cleanup of the register.
So that when we talk about cleanup, oftentimes what people imagine is that, they're removing multiple names, more people who registered multiple times. Yeah. But people don't usually think of deaths. I mean, now that you've mentioned, I'll come and check if my late mother's name is still on the register. It could be a possibility.
Yes.
And it is significant, because otherwise we will still keep seeing this disparity between the number of registered voters for a state and also, but even then, the turnout. 1.3 million. Do you think we need to interrogate further? Do you think that there needs to be further interrogation as to, because I know that Lagos, they had a number of issues, a number of issues in some polling went into the night in many polling state units. There were places where the beavers did not work as it should, at least in good time. There are places where there were even claims of they ran out of ballot papers. That sort of situation, and I do not know how many, maybe those kinds of reports, I mean, I don't know if there's a way that INEC also takes some of these reports much later to be able to interrogate what actually transpired. I mean, for instance, how can they run out of ballot papers if you have this certain number of registered voters? Shouldn't, preparations have been made for this? Absolutely. So shouldn't we be really interrogating this number of, I mean, for instance, I think it was the issue of Ekiti that the INEC chairman spoke about, and he was trying to clarify that there was no overvoting in Ekiti. In fact, he said, as a matter of fact, if there's anything, it does seem that there was undervoting. And a number of people will ask, how can undervoting happen? After all, it's not a situation where we did accreditation in the morning and then we're coming back for voting in the afternoon. Accreditation was supposed to happen simultaneously with voting. So you're done with your accreditation, then you go to vote. it was supposed to be that seamless. So why are we seeing a disparity between the figures of those accredited and those who went to vote? They're not tallying. Big questions to be asked there, Mr. Ozi.
Simple explanation, actually. There are 3 elections. I can choose not to vote in the presidential and keep my ballot paper. As simple as that. So yes, there's nothing wrong with undervoting. I could have chosen to vote only for the House of Reps or only for the Senate. I know the president said, I don't know the other people, I'm not interested in the other people. So that's very easy. The only problem or challenge occurs where there is overvoting, even by 1 vote. That's the only problem.
Do you think INEC should provide a box where, I mean, we've talked about what they call that now, the tide we're seeing is affecting some of the legislative, seats that are, now emerging.
Yes.
And for some people, it was, as long as I'm voting this party for president, then is that party all the way. In some instances, some people just came to the realization, oh my God, I don't even know who is running for House of Reps or who's running for Senate in this particular situation. Some people have argued that perhaps we should have a box that, says no choice or no candidate for that particular election.
Well,
what's your thoughts on that?
You can drop a blank ballot. It shows that you don't have choice. You can do that. Now, you're asking a box. Already have 3 boxes. You're asking to carry a 4th box.
No, not a box. I mean, like a box.
A box
on the ballot paper. Yes, ballot paper.
But if you don't indicate, then that means
then it's no vote.
It's no vote. Okay, Mr. Ozi, let's go back again, and everybody can weigh in on this. We heard in the news, and we actually had that news of the ballot boxes discovered. I mean, voter cards, permanent voter cards discovered in the forest by hunters. That's one. On the day of election, there was this picture that was going around about. It was sent to me actually. A friend sent it to me. An accident, and voter cards were flying all over the place. Could these contribute to the seeming voter apathy? We have the numbers as registered voters, but we don't see them coming for accreditation. I mean, does that add up?
First of all, I didn't see that program you're talking about, but I think
a friend sent it.
The NSDCC one?
Yes.
Yeah, the NSDCC one. They asked
ballot papers, not voter cards. What I saw, what I noticed, took note of were ballot papers.
Yeah, very unfortunate accident.
Yeah, very unfortunate accident. Yeah. Seriously injured.
But let's look at that.
What I was even going to say is really that we need to look at, because if we look at the number of registered voters in now there's no serious discrepancy between the registered voters and then those who collected PVCs. Which is why the point they are making is very critical, because it's not as if we have a lot of dead people who are in the voters register. Because if you have 7 million voters registered, but you have 6 million who have collected the PVC, it's still huge, and then you now have 1.3 valid votes. Then there's a problem, and that's where the point that you are making comes in, because it means that many of these collected PVCs don't end up with those who own them.
So,
and that's why it was really surprising that the number of PVCs that were discovered by those hunters. I mean, huge number. That means some people just go to those who have collected the PVC, probably, and just take it from there.
Even though INEC tells us that no collection by proxy. So how do we reconcile
can't the PVCs be sent to the individuals that are registered? I mean, their addresses. INEC has.
How will that be done?
There you go.
Think about it.
Let us know.
I just wanted to piggyback on Prof's point around, if you look at it, only 6, it's not only, but 6,259,229 people did not collect their PVCs. Exactly, but 87 million did, and that's what you're saying. So where are those 87 million? Right? If we end up somewhere around 20-something million, and I think
voter suppression possibly.
It's a big, and I was going to make reference to 2 things. First of all, the Yaga preliminary report was very clear, and I'm sure we know that there's a systemic way to which Yaga comes up with some of this data. So there was a lot around, and I'm saying that because Malpe made reference to what some of the isolated cases we saw in Lagos, and the truth is that at the end of the day, the beavers was said to have worked 90%, and then for the 9% I believe that it didn't work, it was replaced I think 2% of the time it was replaced, the other time it was fixed. So I think that holistically there's evidence that the beavers worked. And I say that because even if you started late, which we know was a real issue, the accurate, we had people saying it took them, I had 2 seconds, I had 5 seconds, I had somebody say the entire process took them 5 minutes, and then of course I had people say it took 4 hours or 5 hours. So I just think that it's important to make that balance because, again, the polling units, and Mr. Ozi can correct me if I'm wrong here, we're supposed to have between 750 people.
Absolutely.
That's why maximum of 750 people, that's why the redistribution was done. So I think it's really important to...
No. So what I heard, and I think we can double check this, was that last minute there was 1,250 to a beavers.
So that's...
Sorry,
1,250 voters to a beavers, to one beavers.
We were initially confused.
It can take that much.
No, that was how much they allocated for this particular election.
Yes.
No,
but then that's
5,000. That's a totally different. I think that's a totally, the beavers itself can accommodate data for up to 500.
For per polling unit, I think it was the same thing.
It was 1,000. We asked Mr.
Initially it was
Okoye,
750.
and it was 750 initially. But later, at the very last minute, we were told, and I still recall very vividly, that in polling units where you have up to 3,000 plus voters, they will have at least 1,250 names on one beavers machine. That was what was said.
That's a maximum that they will program.
They loaded that maximum on each beaver. So, for instance,
there are many less than that. Some units with 200.
there are units that they didn't have, but in places where they had more than that in one polling unit, they will put 1,250 names on one beavers machine.
Yes, then there will be two.
You're right.
Yes.
But is that a polling unit that has 1,250
plus people?
Voters?
For certain reasons, they did not split some units because of the exigencies and the
concentration.
Exactly.
So, because I know, for instance, I'm trying to quickly find that polling unit for you now. This is not something I'm cooking up in my head. It's something that was experienced by a voter who reached out to me. I eventually had to help escalate this matter to INEC, and thankfully they were able to respond much later. They had 3 beavers machines for that polling unit. I think they had over 3,000 voters in that particular polling unit. So the beavers that had the names for A to C was not working, and it took a very long time for that beavers to eventually, for them to replace that particular beavers. But you can imagine the frustration for voters whose names started from A to the letter C. That was and they usually lost some voters. Yes. So I mean, it is very important to interrogate, and I don't know if it's something that INEC does much later after the elections to say, yes, we conducted a successful poll. However, the reactions, but do they really interrogate further the disparity between the number of, now that we now have people who collected PVCs, is the new figure we're using, and those who actually came out to vote? That's the question I'm asking.
There's an arm of INEC called the Electoral Institute, and part of their their remit is research and also training, of course, training for electoral personnel. And part of their research department is actually supposed to undertake some of the studies subject to availability of grants or subject to having funds. But yes, it's an important thing. I think it's something that probably has to be escalated. And they've done some rudimentary things, and I think they're going to go do more detailed things. I recall for once, for example, in the same Lagos state, I think the TILSA, they said, is it because of restriction of movements or inability of people to move freely? And for that particular by-election a few years back, they said no restriction of movement. Put it in a Saturday, no restriction of movement. It was lower, the turnout was lower than any other election ever conducted. That since records began. It's less than 3% of people voted to turn out to vote. Maybe because it was a by-election, it was qualified some of these things. It was a by-election. I don't know what effect allowing movement persons had on that. But also there are lots of reasons, and I think you're quite right. A more scientific approach has to be done to undertaking to study these things, because you have things like many people who registered for convenience sake, because there was difficulty in registering, and I just registered I just saw a short queue and I entered the queue and registered.
I know.
Apart from my residence,
I met someone like that who had to come all the way from the airport area
to come and register
to come vote because she registered while she was at work.
Yes.
So a neighbor had to drive her down to come and vote and then go back.
That took a lot. Some people will not bother. And secondly, because of the fear of the restriction of movements, and we don't know how civil the security people were that day, let me just sit down in my house. I don't want trouble, kind of a thing. So many people, and then some say they tried to transfer and they had issues with their transfers.
Yes.
So those ones also will have, they will not be able to vote. So there's a myriad of issues. But it's something that first of all we have to study, and before we start talking of solutions, we have to study them. If it's, for example, issues of transfer, INEC must work out a way of making transfer more seamless, for example. If it's a question of, I think a significant number will be affected by those registered here but cannot be here.
Yeah.
And,
what do you think will happen, and how will it impact the system if we say, okay, you know what, we shouldn't use PVCs. If you have your NIN, you can go ahead and vote.
Fine, that's an interesting one. That's what some countries do.
Yeah.
Two things. I remember there's a committee, I think headed by the vice president of the country, where relevant agencies who have the same basic data, each has a different database. Unlike a place like the US, I think, but definitely in England, you have one central database. It makes it easy, and the data, the according to the NIMC, the Data Management Authority, takes care of everything. Now, each of these organizations, the FRSC, the INEC, population, have their own laws. Each of these laws requires them to do certain things. INEC says the Electoral Act says you can only vote with your voter's card where you registered.
But considering the fact that INEC law and the data management law, the identity, they came at different times.
Yeah, correct.
So can't the two of them be fused? At what point do we have the two
there are
numbers?
technical issues, there are legal issues, there are administrative issues that must be sorted out. And I know that committee was working before I left the commission. I'm not too sure it has been able to submit this report. Certainly, the laws have to be harmonized. It's just one aspect. Administratively, things have to be done to harmonize them as well. Technically, they have to be done. Do you wipe up everything and create a new database, or you leave the database as they are, and then they will be able to communicate with each other? That was another solution.
Well, it's interesting you say this, because I do know that even in Nigeria now, there are now attempts to harmonize the databases. Yes. For instance, you cannot get a driver's license if you don't have a NIN. You can't get a passport, an international passport, if you don't have a NIN.
Yes.
Shouldn't we also be requiring that you might not be able to get a voter card if you do not have a NIN?
These are some of the, how do I put it? I think these are some of the steps towards achieving that. NIN is probably the simplest of the things. If I don't drive or don't see the need to drive, I will not go for a driver's license.
Yeah. True.
I will not bother. So yes, maybe passports, but I'm not traveling anywhere. Many people cannot afford the cost of a passport. Yeah. So they won't even bother. So
it is true, but I mean,
yes.
but we'll also
JAM too. JAM says the same thing.
Yes, so it's a first step. But they say you don't have this, but the next step is to get the technical thing. Each database must communicate with the other. We'll probably get there. I think they should hasten work on that. I recall that right from up to 20 years ago, there was a collaboration between NIMC then, or the precursor of NIMC, the Ministry of Internal Affairs that was responsible for registration, and INEC. But there was a drag. In the meantime, INEC had to conduct the 2003 elections because we had constitutional deadlines. The NIN people did not have that deadline. So they have been on it since 1979, and we're talking of 2003 at this time, 2002 at this time. So INEC had to just go it alone, went to the president or passenger then and said, to meet our deadline, there are certain steps we must do now. So we must start the registration of cleaning up of the register now. NIMC, it wasn't NIMC at that time, but the body responsible for registration did not have those kind of time limitations. So these are the issues. It may get to that. It will have to get to that stage. It's a very expensive thing to start to gather data for all these different organizations, and basically the same data. 18 years and above, citizens of Nigeria.
Interestingly, a census is coming up after this election, so it'll be another opportunity to let us see what we can do with data. Prof, let me come to you and let us talk about the politics of this a bit, because we now have the results for a number of states. Enugu has been declared, Adamawa, Ondo, Osun, Kwara, Lagos, Ogun, Gombe, Yobe, Katsina, and Oyo states have now been declared. I'm looking at the results. I don't know if you have been taking note of them so far, but I don't know whether there's any area where you would say that we're seeing any upsets.
Oh, there are quite a number of upsets. The first, of course, is Lagos. It's unbelievable. A lot of people didn't think that Lagos will ever be won by Labour Party, in spite of the obedient movement and their heavy presence in Lagos. The idea is that the APC is too entrenched for any party to be able to upturn it. And that has been. Then another place is Osun State, for instance. Even though we know that the PDP is in charge, the whole idea is that the APC requires substantial support from the Southwest, given the origin of its candidates, to be able to consolidate its hold, or at least as a foundation for its hold to the party. But
it was a really tight race in Osun, though.
Yeah, it's always been tight. I mean, remember, even for the gubernatorial election, there was a rerun in 2014. So, yeah, Osun is always a challenge, and in 2018 they had even a greater challenge. In terms of what we are seeing from the southeast, no significant change, because a lot of people expected that with Obi and the Labour candidate and the Labour Party focusing on the east, there is likely to be a swing, from the PDP to the APC. But what has happened is really that we don't envisage the kind of tsunami, that has happened in most of the states in the southeast. Then in northeast, I think that the APC has shown some strong showing, but we expected that they would take Katsina. That has not happened, and then we have also seen that.
But that was close.
Yeah, it's because, again, if you expect one party to win, then even if that party loses, it's supposed to be close. Like you find also in Lagos, I mean, it's bound to be close, even though the obedience are claiming that the gap should be wider than that. So if you also go to Gombe, which we have seen, Yobe, you begin to see the influence of, Atiku's party from, PDP. So I think there are pockets of surprises, but those surprises are not really too strange because of the movement that has happened. The whole idea that instead of the traditional 2-horse race, we have a 3-horse race. And before we're actually looking at the upset that is likely to happen as a result of the obedient movement. And we have seen that it has actually played out. But again, we expect that it will be strong in the southeast. So that's the way.
Ambassador, did you see it playing out this way?
So I think one of the things that was very clear is that there was going to be identity on the ballot, right? I think that was very clear. And it would be no surprise that people would vote along those lines. And I think that we're beginning to see that play out. But as Prof said, there are definitely surprises. So no surprises from the identity perspective. You would hope that we evolve past that, because as I said, the electoral process is really a pathway to good governance. And I think that, whether it's voter education or awareness, we need to understand that, identity is not enough.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that what we're seeing in Lagos, for instance?
Yes.
I mean, I was also trying to break down, the results for Lagos. I think I was monitoring, yesterday when we had a bit of the results being collated at the Lagos Collation Center. I mean, I'm looking at the results of the NNPP, for instance. The candidate of the NNPP was expected to have done well, say, in Agege. And in Agege, they came out with 1,513 votes in the local government of Agege. If you compare that with, say, APC's 29,000 plus, or Labour Party's 13,270 votes, it doesn't look like Lagos really does conform with that identity politics.
So Lagos is a melting pot, and I think that the results actually show that, right? Lagos is a melting pot, and I think that that is the beauty of democracy that we're seeing there, right? That people will vote. So to your point, as we know, in some places, people are more aware. I think it still goes back to the understanding of more awareness and more voter education. Some people also feel government, right? So they know the difference between I want to change who represents me so that I can change my lot, right? But other people are not voting for those reasons. They are literally voting along these fault lines, clearly and blindly sometimes. And I think that, so that's why, you know, Lagos is a real showing of the fact that actually, you know, you can, every 4 years, you get a chance to change your lots, right? And this process gives you an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and you know, urbanization mediates identity. Because when you have a metropolitan city, the chances are that it's, as you said, a melting pot. So identity is sort of reduced. It's mediated because you have people from different parts. And that's why, because the Southwest is highly urbanized, if you look at the traditional voting pattern, you won't find any state where they will score 60% of the vote. But we've seen that in Ekiti and Ondo for the first time. If you look at the results from 1999, it's usually divided among the two dominant parties.
Yeah, but would that also, you know, would that also be as a result of the political actors in that state? So, for instance, if you look at Ekiti now, the former governor there, Ayo Fayose, who is a member of the PDP, but supports the G5 and has not exactly hidden his support for them, wouldn't that have had an effect on, say, what had happened in Ekiti?
No, Ekiti and Ondo is usually the state. They are states that swing. They are swing states. If you go into their voting pattern, if you have a strong candidate who is able to mobilize, they just move. So that's why you have Fayose, you have Fayemi, you have Fayose again. These are very swing. They are always swinging from one position to the other. The same thing with Ondo State. You remember the phenomenon of Mimiko. You know, when he break away from this thing with Labour Party, and then he swept the entire seat in the subsequent. In fact, his first coming was through the courts, and then the election that held after that. All the seats in the State House of Assembly, 26 of them, went to the Labour Party. So once you have a sitting governor in such states, you will find that his influence counts a lot in terms of the voting pattern.
But Ms. Uzi, having looked at, perhaps in addition to your comments for Lagos, first of all, let's get that out of the way. Did that come as a surprise to you? How the results came through for Lagos?
Well, the truth of the matter, I don't reflect too well on the results. I tend to concentrate on the processes leading up to the results. Yeah, truly.
Even though you're formerly of INEC, you're still very much about it.
I think it's a condition.
Quite understandable. But so for the process in Lagos then, what were your impressions?
I was bothered. You see, it's as you said, it's a process. I was bothered about news items I was getting about the foundations of voter suppression, about people who registered but could not get their cards. So I have been monitoring this situation since that period. And there were stories coming out. The REC was alleged to have said something about foreigners and things like that, justifying why maybe certain people will not get cards. I thought it was an unfortunate thing. I am happy. I think that it was denied. But it stuck with some people. And there were serious complaints, worrisome complaints, that people with certain foreign names were not being given cards. I don't know whether that was ever proven or not, but already the foundations and perception were already being laid then.
What do they mean by foreign names? Do they mean people from border communities
non-indigenous sounding names,
like your name?
You know, like your other name. You are like me, have some odd names, but yours is by mine is by birth. Now you see, so that was already there. There were antecedents as well in 2019 and. Prior to then, there were attacks on places they thought were strongholds. So already, you know, as an electoral administrator, you track some of those things. So in a sense, it doesn't come as too much of a surprise. It came as a surprise because the security agencies probably did not do enough, because they should have done a security mapping and identify these flashpoints at least through history and through intelligence gathering. So that was a bit of a surprise. As to the actual votes, well, I think it's a good thing when I see competitive elections like that. As an administrator, I'm quite pleased about that. That democracy is all about competition. So there's competition for space, competition for votes.
But this next visual we're about to see, not the kind of competition that you're talking about. Because in Just North Collation Center, take a look, guys. This is what played out while the collation was going on, and you would have thought that they will conduct themselves decently and ensure that things turn out well. It started out as though it was all going out well until this happened. Let's see if we can get to that part.
Let me calm down.
Heritage ti dé. Aba Remedy ló sọ pé àìsàn ní ṣe wá. Ṣọ́múròrò àwọn ká pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dá o.
Orí fífọ́ ò dáa.
Manpower ó ṣe kókó fámọ́kùnrin.
Diabetes ò dáa.
Rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wọn jà o.
Àbí o kàlàfíà àwọn máa ti fíafíà o. Bí iléeṣẹ́ Aba Remedy ṣe ń fọn rẹ̀ pé ká tọ́jú ara wa pẹ̀lú àwọn oògùn ìbílẹ̀ tiwantiwa. Egbògi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pọ́nbélé tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ fáwọn onírúurú àìsàn bíi ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru, high blood pressure, ìtọ̀ ṣúgà, diabetes, ẹ̀fọ́rí túlù, migraine, àwọ̀ká, arthritis, nárùn, body inching, ṣọmúlọ́rọ̀ àtẹ̀dá tó dààmú àwọn obìnrin. Yorùbá natural Aba Remedy ló lè yanjú ẹ̀. Manpower ọkùnrin làdá tó ń fáwọn ọkùnrin lágbára láti ṣojú ṣe wọn lọ́dọ̀ àwọn aya wọn. Ọ̀sẹ̀ àánú náà wà Mercy Soap fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ràn àánú gbà. Aba Remedy láti lè ṣe HeritageTV London. Ẹ lè rí àláwọ̀ àdírẹ́sì tó ń kọjá lójú wòran yìí tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè nọ́mbà yìí +44 777 8957 893. Lè ṣe HeritageTV London ló ń pariwo wípé àìsàn àtàrùn onífàgbọ́ ara wa ṣe bùgbé o.
Rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wọn jà o.
Jerusalem,
Jerusalem,
land of glory,
Jerusalem,
holy land,
and they visit to Jerusalem.
ní àwọn tó ti wà ní àkọsílẹ̀ tí a sì jẹ́rìí rẹ̀ wípé òdodo ni àǹfààní ńlá ló ṣí sílẹ̀ fún ọ láti wọ̀lú Ísírẹ́lì ìrìn àjò ọlọ́jọ́ 10 sí ìlú mímọ́ ní Jerusalem. Ìwọ náà rí fúnra rẹ̀ àwọn ibi tó ti kà nínú Bíbélì. Orí òkè Nebo ní àdójúkọ Jẹ́ríkò níbi tí Ọlọ́run ti fi gbogbo ilẹ̀ lérí hàn Mósè. Deuteronomy chapter 34 verse 1 to 12. Àfonífojì Élà níbi tí Dáfídì ti ṣẹ́gun Gòláyátì. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 1 to 5. Òkun Gálílì níbi tí Jésù ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. Luke chapter chapter 4 verse 14 to 15. Kánà àti Galilee níbi tí Jésù ti ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu àkọ́kọ́ ó somi di wáìnì. Jòhánù orí kejì ẹsẹ̀ kìíní sí kẹwàá. Odò Jọ́dánì níbi tí Jòhánù onítẹ̀bọmi ti baptisi Jésù. Matthew chapter 3 verse 13. Ilé tí Jósẹ́fù àti Màríà ìyá Jésù gbé ní Násárẹ́tì. Matthew chapter 2 verse 23. Ìlú Jericho. Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 to 2. Òkun Pupa. Exodus chapter 14 verse 22. Ọgbà Gẹ́stímánì níbi tí Jésù ti ń gbàdúrà. Matthew chapter 26 verse 36. Sàárè Lásárù. Ibojì ọba Dáfídì ní Jerúsálẹ́mù. Ilé tí Jésù àtàwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti jó ń jalè Olúwa. Mark chapter 14 verse 15 to 18. Yàrá òkè níbi táwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti gbẹ̀mí mímọ́. Iṣẹ́ Apọ́sítélì chapter 2 verse 1 to 5 àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ Captain Mother Athens sórí nọ́mbà yìí 078-721-37953 tàbí Pastor Elijah Kumuyi sórí nọ́mbà yìí 079-846-34898. Ìjọsílẹ̀ mímọ́ kì í ṣe ìrìn àjò lásán ṣùgbọ́n ká lọ kábọ̀ ká dẹni ọ̀tun. Ìrìn àjò sí Jerusalem tọdún yìí.
Quick Cargo Limited. From London to Nigeria.
Quick Cargo Limited. We specialize in shipping and air freight from London to Nigeria. We provide you with high quality, affordable and reliable shipping platform globally. Quick Cargo Limited. We collect from your door within London with free pickup. Your containers, cash shipping, air freight services, shipment shipping, plant machinery and professional packing services. All this we do to satisfy you. London address, Unit 1215. Access Self Storage, Kingsbridge Road, Afresh Way, back in IG 11 OBD. Telephone +44 79 04 04 1142 +44 79 6021 2185 +44 78 4949 4970. Nigeria address #1 Molara Alibaba Close behind CPM Church, Ajao Estate, Lagos. Telephone 090-7083-3630. Website www.quickcargo.co.uk. Email info@quickcargo.co.uk. Quick Cargo Limited. Affordable and reliable shipping
from London to Nigeria.
ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jùmọ̀ kọ orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àwa ni ògo adúláwọ̀.
Fire.
heritage ti dé. Aba Remedy ló sọ pé àìsàn oníṣẹ́ wa ṣọ́múròrò àwọn ká pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dá o.
orí fífọ́ ò dáa.
Manpower ó ṣe kókó fọ́mọ ọkùnrin.
diabetes ò dáa.
rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wọn jà o.
àbí o kàlàfíà àwọn máa di fíafíà o. ilé iṣẹ́ Aba Remedy ṣe ń fọn rẹ̀ pé ká tọ́jú ara wa pẹ̀lú àwọn òògùn ìbílẹ̀ tiwantiwa. egbògi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pọ́nbélé tó ṣiṣẹ́ fáwọn onírúurú àìsàn bíi ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru high blood pressure ìtọ̀ ṣúgà diabetes ẹ̀fọ́rí túlù migraine àwọ̀ká arthritis nárùn body inching ṣàmúlòrò àtẹ̀dá tó dààmú àwọn obìnrin Yorùbá natural Aba Remedy ló lè yanjú ẹ̀. Manpower ọkùnrin làdá tó ń fáwọn ọkùnrin lágbára láti ṣojú ṣe wọn lọ́dọ̀ àwọn aya wọn. ọ̀sẹ̀ àánú náà wà Mercy Soap fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ràn àánú gbà. Aba Remedy láti lè ṣe HeritageTV London. ẹ lè rí àwọn àdírẹ́sì tó ń kọjá lójú wòran yìí tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè nọ́mbà yìí +44 777 8957 893 lè ṣe HeritageTV London ló ń pariwo wípé àìsàn àtàrùn onífàgọ́ ara wa ṣe bùgbé o.
rúmọ́lẹ́gùn ò dára káyé má bá wọn jà o.
Jerusalem,
Jerusalem,
land of glory,
Jerusalem,
holy land,
and they visit to Jerusalem.
ní àwọn tó ti wà ní àkọsílẹ̀ tí a sì jẹ́rìí rẹ̀ wípé òdodo ni àǹfààní ńlá ló ṣí sílẹ̀ fún ọ láti wọ̀lú Ísírẹ́lì ìrìn àjò ọlọ́jọ́ 10 sí ìlú mímọ́ ní Jerusalem. ìwọ náà rí fúnra rẹ̀ àwọn ibi tó ti kà nínú Bíbélì orí òkè Nebo ní àdójúkọ Jericho níbi tí Ọlọ́run ti fi gbogbo ilẹ̀ lérí hàn Mósè. Deuteronomy chapter 34 verse 1 to 12 àfonífojì Élà níbi tí Dáfídì ti ṣẹ́gun Gòláyátì. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 1 to 5 òkun Gálílì níbi tí Jésù ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. Luke chapter 4 verse 14 to 15 Kánà àti Gálílì níbi tí Jésù ti ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu àkọ́kọ́ ó somi di wáìnì. Jòhánù orí kejì ẹsẹ̀ kìíní sí kẹwàá odò Jọ́dánì níbi tí Jòhánù onítẹ̀bọmi ti baptisi Jésù. Matthew chapter 3 verse 13 ilé tí Jósẹ́fù àti Màríà ìyá Jésù gbé ní Násárẹ́tì. Matthew chapter 2 verse 23 ìlú Jericho. Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 to 2 Òkun Pupa. Exodus chapter 14 verse 22 ọgbà Gẹ́stímánì níbi tí Jésù ti ń gbàdúrà. Matthew chapter 26 verse 36 sàárè Lásárù ibojì ọba Dáfídì ní Jerúsálẹ́mù ilé tí Jésù àtàwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti jó ń jalè Olúwa. Mark chapter 14 verse 15 to 18 yàrá òkè níbi táwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ti gbẹ̀mí mímọ́. Iṣẹ́ Àpọ́stélì chapter 2 verse 1 to 5 àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ Captain Mother Athens sórí nọ́mbà yìí 078 721 379 53 tàbí Pastor Elijah Kumuyi sórí nọ́mbà yìí 079 846 348 98. àjọsílẹ̀ mímọ́ kì í ṣe ìrìn àjò lásán ṣùgbọ́n ká lọ kábọ̀ ká dẹni ọ̀tun. ìrìn àjò sí Jerusalem tọdún yìí.
Jerusalem.
Quick Cargo
Limited. From London to Nigeria.
Quick Cargo Limited. We specialize in shipping and air freight from London to Nigeria. We provide you with high quality, affordable and reliable shipping platform globally. Quick Cargo Limited. We collect from your door within London with free pickup. Your containers, cash shipping, air freight services, shipment shipping, plant machinery and professional packing services. All this we do to satisfy you. London address, Unit 1215. Access Self Storage, Kingsbridge Road, Afresh Way, Backing IG 11 OBD. Telephone +44 79 04 04 1142 +44 79 6021 2185 +44 78 4949 4970. Nigeria address number 1 Molara Alibaba Close behind CPM Church, Ajao Estate, Lagos. Telephone 090-7083 3630. Website www.quickcargo.co.uk. Email info@quickcargo.co.uk. Quick Cargo Limited. Affordable and reliable shipping
from London to Nigeria.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream. That was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.